what stood out to me in getting to know you and your church was when you say something like the goal was to get people serving. That's not just a statement. You guys have put real systems, structures, and work behind it. And there's a credible resource I'll point people towards. We'll have in the show notes that really is, I think you call it Do Something Church, but there's this framework called, count, walk, ask, love. And there's a whole worksheet that really helps people move, like for pastors can use to move their church from just talking about serving the needs to actually a process to move that into action. Can you tell a little bit about that? Because you guys are banking thousands and thousands of volunteer hours in the community every year, a church mobilized. It's so compelling. And I think it's so essential for this moment in history that church discovers this. I'd just love to hear a bit about how that started and just teach us a bit about that.
Yeah, the DoSomethingChurch.org, you can go get information about it. But serving the community was what the church was about. When I was a youth pastor, I told the students, your campus is like a city and you are the pastors of that city.
Hmm.
And so if you're a football player, reach out to the football team. If you're a cheerleader, reach out to the cheerleaders, etc. So we started the church. There's all these affinity groups. There's police, there's teachers, there's homeless. There's all these affinity groups of people. And, who are you called to serve? And so we developed this outreach philosophy, 4 steps: count, walk, ask, love. Take a numerical assessment of the pain. How many jails, how many inmates, how many convalescent homes, how many people in the convalescent homes? What percentage of the people in the convalescent homes don't get a visitor? 60%. And those are numbers. So take a numerical assessment of the pain. Jesus said there were 10 lepers that came to him and he healed them. 1 said thank you. And so if you count and take a numerical assessment of the pain, then you walk to them, you go to them. And that's walk. Instead of saying, come to my church, you go to them. And then you ask in Matthew 10:45, how can I help you? He asked blind Bartimaeus. So you count the pain, you go to them. So let's say you go to the police chief, which I went to, the mayor I went to, said, how can we help you? Instead of telling people, you need Jesus, you need to do this, you need to repent, how can I serve? Jesus said, I didn't come to be served, but to serve and give my life as a ransom. So you count, you take a numerical assessment, you walk, you ask, and then in response to your question, you love them. And you don't do what they say, because you may say, how can I help you? And the guy says, buy me some drugs. You want to respond in love. And so that philosophy is what carries us through, and how we look at the city and we see a need, we say, how can we help? We don't come and say, here's what we're going to do. We say, what would be best? Because sometimes we might not know the best thing to do. The church was known for what it was for, and serving and loving, especially loving people who don't agree with you. Jesus said, it's one thing to love your friends, but to love your enemies who curse you and spitefully use you. Those are the people, that's the true evidence that I live in your heart. And so how can the church position itself as a lover of the community, no matter what they think about you?